Greetings and salutations, my name is Colin Moriarty, I'm editor of IGN PlayStation. I'm here with Andrew Goldfarb, IGN's news editor, and that guy behind us is Rich George, he's IGN's Nintendo executive editor.
Pay no attention.
He won't say anything, but he's in the shot.
Yes.
And I'm updating my PlayStation debug right now, so don't pay attention to that either. Goldfarb, we're here right now to talk about Gran Turismo 6.
You mean Driveclub?
No.
Oh, no?
This is another game. We know Gran Turismo 6 is real. We've known since 2010.
Sure.
But we don't know what platforms it's on. We don't know when it's going to be ready and all of these things. But an interesting interview was released.
I hope it was with Michael Denny.
It was with Michael Denny. I know that's your favorite Sony executive.
Yeah,
He's from
Shuhei's my favorite.
Oh, okay.
But
So
he's a close second.
Michael Denny's a close second.
Yeah.
You might recognize Michael Denny from all sorts of stuff if you're following PlayStation, but he was on stage for quite some time during the PlayStation 4 reveal. So this guy is high up there. He works in Sony Europe. He was giving an interview to Silicon Republic, and he was talking about the PlayStation 3's life cycle. And Goldfarb, what he said was, what he was basically saying was that the PlayStation 3 will live on. They're not going to stop supporting it. Yeah, would you like to, would you like to read the interesting part of the quote here that he had to say here,
Sure.
highlighted here?
He said, you look at the games coming out on PlayStation 3 this year, like The Last of Us, Beyond, GT6.
Yes. Now, just so you understand that this wasn't like a slip of the tongue or whatever, we're going to play right now the little piece of the audio because Silicon Republic released the audio to prove that this is indeed what he said, and he did say it, so listen now.
Look at the games coming out on PlayStation 3 this year, like The Last of Us, like Beyond, GT6.
Okay, so Goldfarb, that's pretty compelling. He said it. He said it with conviction, like he had been, like he'd said it a million times. He didn't try to go back and correct himself.
Yeah, he didn't take it back at all. Like it was totally nonchalant. He slipped it in as though it was on a list of announced games.
Now let me take the paper back from you real quick,
Okay, sure.
and read to you what Sony told me. They said in 2010, Kazunori Yamauchi, who makes he works at Polyphony Digital, which is a Sony-owned studio, confirmed that Polyphony Digital has commenced development for Gran Turismo 6. We look forward to sharing further details on this title in the near future. I pressed Sony pretty hard to give me more information, and they wouldn't talk about the game any more than that. So Goldfarb, the point of this video is not only to tell the listeners and the viewers out there that Gran Turismo 6 is obviously still coming, but that I believe it is a PlayStation 3 game, and that it would make sense that it would be on PlayStation 3.
It does. As soon as we start talking about this, I mean, and that's the two pieces of information from that quote. It's number one, that it's a 2013 game. Number two, that it's a PlayStation 3 game. And we were talking about this a lot yesterday. You, me, Ryan McCaffrey, our Xbox editor. This makes a lot of pieces kind of fall into place. I know, like you were saying, if they had tried to ship this to a PS4 game, it could have been years away. And it makes the Driveclub announcement coming so soon, being at the conference, make a lot of sense. Because you want a racing game on a new console. That's what everybody says. It looks beautiful, makes people realize this is next gen. It's something that's appeals to the mainstream a little more than like Resistance or anything else. So I think this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, people, when we first saw Driveclub, before we saw Evolution's logo or the logo of the game, it looked like it was Gran Turismo, and there was definitely confusion immediately on what is the point of having these two studios you own making games that are very similar, because of course Evolution makes MotorStorm typically, and that's a different kind of racing game. Polyphony's always tread in the simulation kind of realm, and Evolution always kind of covered the arcade style racer. And it seems like they're both doing the same thing. Now, this all is in context now, if this is indeed true. Gran Turismo 6 would come out probably before PlayStation 4 even launched, and I don't think Driveclub is even a launch title, so so you'd probably see it in 2014, and so there would be no overlap there. And a lot of people are confused about why Polyphony wouldn't be working on a PS4 game, and I think that they probably are. I think Gran Turismo is probably in development for PS4 too. You have to remember, Polyphony is a huge studio, and arguably Sony's most profitable studio. I printed out some numbers because I don't think a lot of people realize how well Gran Turismo has sold historically. The top 5 best-selling Gran Turismo games are Gran Turismo 3 on PlayStation 2, which sold 15 million units, Gran Turismo 4 on PlayStation 2, which has sold 11.6 million, Gran Turismo on PS1, 10.85 million, Gran Turismo 2 on PlayStation 1 at about 9.4 million, and Gran Turismo 5 on PS3, which is the best-selling PlayStation 3 game, at over 9 million units. So I probably think that they have like carte blanche over there to do whatever they want. And when their games are ready, they're ready. And they've been working on this game probably since before PS4 dev kits were even available. So it all makes sense, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's kind of weird that we didn't kind of put 2 and 2 together before this. But like seeing this announcement, like I said, it makes all the pieces fall into place. Driveclub's a really interesting counterpoint to Gran Turismo because they're doing, it's first person, but they are still focused on how realistic the cars can be. They said over and over and over again how our cars are so realistic. It was a little, I forget the exact wording he used, but he was like, it's a little weird how much we like these cars and how much focus we put into them. So I think you're going to fulfill that niche on PS4 for a pretty racing game for people who want realistic cars, but at the same time, the Gran Turismo name can still be on the PlayStation ecosystem, be on PS3, come out this year, put an end to all the speculation about Gran Turismo. So, I mean, it does make sense for Sony. They kind of get to have their cake and eat it too, because they get the recognizable franchise that sells so many units, but on a huge install base, and then they also get kind of their pretty racing game for their new console.
I agree. And if my vision for Gran Turismo 6, if I am predicting things right, is that it will come out this fall on PS3, and it'll be a Vita game too. Because we heard rumors about Gran Turismo on Vita a long time ago. Sony was releasing sort of like kind of secretive polls that they were kind of asking their most hardcore gamers if they want Gran Turismo on Vita. I wouldn't be surprised to see it there. So yeah, that kind of solves the problem of the racing game late in the life cycle and early in the life cycle in the next console. But we could be wrong, who knows? We'll know more when Sony decides to tell us. In the meantime, for all things PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation 4, keep it tuned to IGN Beyond.
Beyond.